For many people leaving Sky, there has always been one big problem. What can actually replace the Sky Q box? Not in terms of streaming, but actual live TV and recording. Well, this might be the closest thing yet. This is the brand new Manhattan S4R, a Freesat recorder designed to bring you the same experience you would get with Sky Q without the monthly subscriptions. I've been using it for a few days now, and in this video, I want to share my thoughts. So on paper, this looks to be an ideal choice for anybody that wants to get out of a Sky subscription because they're not watching the Sky channels, but still wants access to those Freesat channels and the ability to record, pause, and have a sort of integrated TV guide. The S4R starts at £219 for the 500GB model, which I have here, but they also have it in a 1TB and 2TB model. It has dual tuner support, allowing you to watch one thing while recording another, as well as recording 4 things at the same time. It also gives you access to a number of catch-up services. Inside the box, you get an easy-to-follow setup guide, the S4R itself, a power cable and HDMI cable. Of course, you get the remote. The remote itself feels quite nice. It doesn't feel overly premium, but at the same time, it doesn't feel super cheap and plastic. It's about the same size and weight as the Sky Q remote and has most of the same functions. Remotes like this are always a little bit too busy for me, but that's just because I'm so used to using Apple TV when there's like 4 buttons on it. But it gets the job done, and as I say, it doesn't feel overly cheap. Actually setting the box up is super simple, especially if you're just replacing a Sky Q box. It's just a case of unplugging the cables from the Sky Q box and then plugging the twin satellite cables into the S4R, as well as the power cable, HDMI cable, and I also connected it via Ethernet, although it does have Wi-Fi built in. When I first powered it on, I was greeted to an initial setup screen that told me I needed the software update. And I was a little bit worried because the menu system looked like it came straight from the year 2000. Thankfully, this was just for the software update. And once it actually restarted, I was greeted to a much more clean and higher resolution interface. It then automatically scanned and stored the Freesat channels. It also told me my signal strength. Manhattan say that you can receive over 100 channels and 35 HD channels. No need to pay more for HD in 2026. I'm looking at you, Sky. And the whole process of scanning, as well as the initial update, took less than 5 minutes, and I was ready to watch TV. We'll start by taking a look at the TV guide. So if I press the guide button on the remote, it will take me to the TV guide, which is nicely laid out, really easy to just sort of go through. If you've used Sky Q, you'll be right at home using this TV guide. If we were to hover over one of the shows, as you can see, there's a bit of information at the top. So it tells me, the type of show it is, whether it's an HD, 5.1, subtitles. If I press the More button, it will take me in to another menu where I can also see if there are any of those episodes on demand. This seems to be something that only happens with BBC shows, which I'll come to in just a second. We can also add to watch list. So what I mean by that is if you notice on all the BBC shows, there's a little play symbol, which would allow me, if I was to click this Great Central Asian Railway, it will allow me to either watch live or play on demand. And if I click play on demand, it will open up iPlayer and start from the beginning. That doesn't seem to be an option for ITV and Channel 4. I've signed into the ITV app on here and I've signed into the Channel 4 app. But if I was to click ITV, it will just come onto the show. It won't kind of allow me to start from the beginning. Just coming back into the TV guide, something I used to like to do with Sky Q is be able to sort of see what's on tomorrow. It's by pressing the fast forward button. So if I press that, we can see what's on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I can also go backwards. So if I come back here, I can see what was on yesterday and the day before and go right back if I want to. If you are someone that just likes channel hopping, if I was to start at BBC One, there is a small delay flicking between the channels. So this is BBC One. If I skip, you can see that there's like a 2-second delay before the channel comes on, but nothing too bad. You can obviously also use your up and down arrow on the remote to sort of see what's on other channels without, flicking a 2, and you can scroll across, which is nice and useful. If I now press the actual home button on the remote, we are taken to the Manhattan home screen. So you can see we have the built-in apps here. You can add any apps to this. So you can add Netflix, Disney Plus and all of that. So this isn't kind of an all-in-one box where you can have all the streaming services, but most TVs have those services built in now. So this is kind of dedicated to your live TV. It does have YouTube on here. YouTube and iPlayer do also support 4K streaming. I've tested YouTube, picture looks great, but just be aware you can add other apps to this other than the ones that are here for catch-up services. Across here, we've got TV guide, we've got recordings, which we'll come to in a second. We've got featured, which obviously shows, you know, some popular shows at the time. If I go back, we've got watch list, so you can create your watch list by, you know, adding things to it. We've got a search. There is no voice search on the remote, so you actually have to go in and type what you're looking for. If we go into settings, most of these are you know, straightforward. Picture and sound. I did turn match frame rate on because it's something I do with my Apple TV, just so it says here, choose whether the refresh rate of your TV is automatically changed to match the content, which I want to happen. So that by default was off. I turned that on. Dolby Audio was set to off when I first turned this on. Now I've got a Sonos set up here, so I want Dolby Audio touched on. One thing I did notice, when I turn it off, I can control the volume with the actual Manhattan remote. So you can see there the volume is working. If I turn it on and try and change the volume with the Manhattan remote, it says volume controls are disabled for channels with Dolby Digital Audio. So I actually have to use my TV remote. Not sure why. I haven't tried to fix it or actually really look into it, but it is worth mentioning. Obviously resolution, it's not all the shows aren't, you know, in 4K because we're using Freesat, but obviously the menus and stuff, the actual resolution is at 2160. Accessibility and language, so you can go in there and play with your subtitles. Menu preferences, I haven't changed any of these, but there are some options here. You know, telling you that there is an HD version. So if you click the SD version, it will prompt to tell you that you could watch the high definition version. And obviously you're not paying for HD like you would be with Sky. Recording. So again, the SD HD preference is going to ask me, but you can set that to always be HD or always be SD, which is quite useful. Recording notification, standby recording LED. So when you are recording, and I will cover this in a second when we start looking at the recording features, there is a little white light that appears. Delete confirmation, padding options. So you can, this is set to auto for me, but you can choose for it to start recording a little bit earlier. So you can play with that here. Playback start signaled. So it says here, choose whether to start playback of recordings with manual padding from the recorded start or where the broadcast is signaled to start. I'm not sure because it's hard to test this, but if, for example, you wanted to record something and then a football match delayed it, I'm not sure if this is the setting here where it would, you know, change it for you. It's not something I can really test without, you know, knowing something's going to change. All my recordings have obviously started when they should have, and I've had no problems with it. We can erase content storage here. Down and playback, all self-explanatory, just to show you what's there. Tuning in channels, obviously I set everything up to auto. You can remove channels if you wanted to, and you can favorite them. So you can see up there, you've got add favorite, hide and delete. We have retune and reset. We've got manual tune for anyone that would play around with this. So as I say, for me, I just did the auto, but you can here change the frequency, the symbol rate and polarization. But for the most part, most people are just going to be using the auto setting there, and you can hide adult channels. That is set to off. Total space, although this is a 500 gigabyte model, you get 420 gigabytes after the OS and stuff is on there. So that's settings. Let's now just quickly talk about recordings then. So if I go into the guide, it works again exactly the same way as you would expect it to if you've used Sky Q. So if I want to watch this, I just press the record button. Do I want to record series? Well, I'm not aware that the BAFTAs is a series. I maybe record it every year, but I just want to record the episode. Later on, if I want to record you know, your song, I can press the record button. It asks me, do I want to record series or record episode? You know, I can set record series, so now that's series linked. You can obviously record 4 things at once, just like you can with the Sky Q box. So I have tested that. If I go in and hit record on this one as well, hit record on this one too, and finally I want to record this. Does anyone do this? I don't think there's many people that are going to be recording 4 things and trying to watch another. But if I do try and watch another show, it now tells me that I have to stop the recording of one of these. So now, if I go back into the menu, so I have been using this all weekend. So if I go in and go to my recordings, It categorizes them quite nicely. So you can see we've got series, drama and soaps, entertainment, factual at the top. And these are the things that have been recorded. This is just stuff I've tested to record over the last couple of days. So if you want to watch something, I could just click on it. You've got your fast forward, like you would expect, exactly like you would expect with, Sky Q, which is really nice because this is a really straightforward and like simple replacement. Just as well, while we're talking about recording, we mentioned pausing live TV as well. So if I go back to guide, because I've had the BAFTAs on, like this is the channel that's been on, I think I can rewind quite far. No, I can't. No, I haven't had it long. So it will only, a bit like it does with Sky Q, I can go back kind of as long as I was on the channel. It seems to make a little buffer. I don't know the limits to that, but it's letting me go back to here. You've reached your limit of the pause buffer. So that's a quick overview of how it works. Let's jump back and I will share my thoughts and experiences just using it this weekend. So as mentioned at the start, I've been using the S4R for about 4 days straight now. And as a direct Sky Q replacement, I've been very impressed. It functions very well. The TV guide is very easy to use. Picture quality is very good, which I can't say the same of when I've tried Freeview in the past. I think Freesat just looks much better. And everything feels really responsive. And while the upfront cost of £219 might seem high for some people, if you are paying a subscription to Sky, say £50 a month, and you're not really watching the Sky channels all the time, this box would pay for itself in 2 or 3 months. And if there is something you want to watch on Sky, get Now TV for a month, or the Now TV subscription usually works out cheaper than going directly with Sky. But obviously, if you are a sports fan, once again, you are in that kind of grey area where it's not fully catered for you. The lack of built-in streaming apps is a bit of a shame. It stops this being sort of one box to do it all. But, I would see this as your kind of live TV box. And, most TVs have the ability to have Netflix installed to them, Disney Plus installed to them. So if you do want your streaming apps, it would just be a case of accessing them via the TV. Or like myself, I use Apple TV for everything that isn't live TV. And I guess if I was to put the Sky Q interface next to the Manhattan interface, I would pick the Sky Q interface in terms of how it looks. But I personally don't think that's worth the subscription fee. Manhattan also do a Freeview recorder, which has been out for a little while longer, the T4R. But as mentioned, I haven't tested that, and Freeview in my area has just never really been that good in terms of picture quality. They also do the Manhattan Aero, which I have reviewed up here. It's a much cheaper box. I think it's about £70. It doesn't give you the ability to record, but gives you access to the Freely service, which for those that don't have an aerial or a satellite connection, that would be an ideal little thing to look at. So overall, if you're not ready to go full-blown streaming and you still want those kind of Sky Q features, the ability to pause live TV, record, have a nice, easy-to-use TV guide, this is a great little replacement. Yes, you've got the initial upfront cost, but I would say that pays for itself, especially if you are someone with quite a high Sky TV subscription and you're not really taking advantage of all those Sky channels. But as always, I would love to know your thoughts. Please pop them down in the comments. And if you do have any questions, I will try and answer them. As I say, I've only been using it for a couple of days, so this is not long-time use. If there is any major problems, I will pin them down there. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.